Hello, friends, I'm the Dyslexic Cosplayer, and it's time we take a look at Blake 7, Episode 18, Pressure Point. Well, what gets interesting right off the bat is it's the first episode that we've had written by Terry Nation in a while. And it gets off to a rather explosive start with two disposable henchmen attempting to cross an open field. I'm glad to see we've upgraded from the rock quarry again. Rest in peace, Dead Meat number 1 and 2. Meanwhile, back aboard the Liberator, we find out that Blake has brought the ship into the orbit of Earth. Not something that the rest of the crew is terribly thrilled with right at the moment.
You never said anything about looking at the perimeter from the inside.
We must take this risk.
Alright, I didn't expect you to like the idea. That's why I misled you a little bit. That's very diplomatically put. So why has Blake decided to finally return to Earth? Well, back when the Federation was first established, it started to sprawl and become unruly. So the Federation built a central computer to monitor all of the transmissions, all of the bureaucracy, pretty much everything that keeps the Federation ticking. That is located in a facility on Earth that's been attacked 1,000 times, but never taken out. If someone could take it out, it would be the death of the Federation. Armies can't do it, space fleets can't do it, but we can, is that it? For the past year now, I've been gathering all the information I can find. With Orak's help, I now know more about control than anyone outside of the senior command of the Federation. I think I can destroy it. We're all going to die. Fortunately for Blake, he has managed to find some help. A rebel leader named Kasabi, who is going to try and help him break into control. It was her two dead meats that died earlier in the episode trying to cross a minefield, outside of control. However, unbeknownst to her, she's being watched on candid camera by Servalon! Yes! Oh god, woman, why do you always look so ravishing? And I guess Travish is there, whatever.
Oh no, don't bother mentioning me at all. I am already dead inside.
Shut up, you thermos with a laser pointer. I still haven't forgiven you for that incident with Avalon yet. Despite all the signs that Blake is stricken with megalomania, the rest of the crew decides to go along with his plan, assuming that he knows exactly what he's doing. And that was your first mistake. The one person who will go along with the plan anyway, for some reason, is Avon. And once he explains his reasons to Blake, by Grapthar's hammer, I remember why I like this character. The Federation will be at its weakest. It will be more vulnerable than it has been for centuries. The revolt in the Outer Worlds will grow. The resistance movements on Earth will launch an all-out attack to destroy the Federation. They will need unifying. They will need a leader. You will be the natural choice. With you running the campaign on Earth, somebody has to take charge of all of this. You want the Liberator? Exactly. If we both succeed, the destruction of control gives us what we both want. Though Avon's plan is brilliant, it may have run into a slight snag, as Kasabi's men are taken out by Servalon and she's captured. While they're gearing up to interrogate her, I just have to point out this scene that shows quite how the character dynamic has not improved any since we've swapped actors. Even with the creator of the show writing the lines, the character just doesn't feel right. You should have left it to me! Nothing's lost. Your opening fire could have ruined everything! But it didn't, Travis. My last chance, you said! Kasabi and I had unfinished business. This is no time for personal vendetta, Supreme Commander! Thank you, Travis. I'm obliged for the reminder. Anyway, moving on. Servalon is hoping Kasabi will tell her where Blake's rendezvous with her is supposed to take place. Of course, Kasabi's not interested in turning that over to her. Although, in a brief aside, we get a nice insight into the character of Servalon.
You were a credit to your background. Spoiled, idle, vicious. My confidential assessment listed her as unfit for command, but I forgot how well connected she was.
That's no concern of mine!
It should be. It should be everyone's concern. The Federation is degenerate, run by creatures like her.
Moving right along, Blake's crew is becoming concerned that they haven't heard the go-ahead from Kasabi yet. And despite their best efforts, Kasabi seems to be resisting the drugs that they're giving her to make her tell them the truth. The best they were able to manage was finding a microtransmitter that should give Blake a teleport location. But if there's some sort of a password and they send the wrong one, then Blake will know the game is up. Servalan decides to give Kasabe a super concentrated dose of the drug, even if it will likely kill her. And Kasabe does give them the information she needs, as well as an interesting set of last words.
Servalan? I'm sorry.
Sorry?
I should have tried. In the beginning, I should have tried to help you.
What on earth was that supposed to mean? Oh, well, I guess she's dead now. Oh, well. Back up on the Liberator, they finally get the teleport coordinates they were looking for. Blake and Gan decide to teleport down to the planet's surface. And in a nice little aside that I'm fairly certain is meant to be a dig at Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek, Gan doesn't recognize what an abandoned church is, perhaps hinting at the fact that the Federation is agnostic, just like the Federation in Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek. As they explore the church, they discover one of Kasabe's freedom fighters. Recognizing she has sustained some injuries, they offer to treat her while sending Avon and Villa to go scout out the control complex. After administering some first aid, they're able to find out her name is Veron. She claims to be Kasabe's daughter, who somehow managed to survive the firefight and fled to here, where she sent the signal for Blake to come down and help. Blake decides to move ahead with the operation even without Kasabe's backup, because of course he does. Villa and Avon teleport down to try and investigate the control building and see if they can figure out how to break in, realizing they're on a limited time frame. It becomes apparent that what blew up the two expendable henchmen earlier was some sort of radiation tape that's self-repairing that completely surrounds the area. A fairly effective minefield, even if it will somehow deliver enough radiation to kill you by explosion rather than just all of your organs turning to liquid. But at any rate, they teleport to meet up with Blake at the church, just managing to avoid the BBC spending half of the show's budget on a couple of explosives in an empty field. So Avon and Villa soon realize quite how boned they are, but hope that if they have their teleporters, they can at least always back out if they find they're in too deep. However, just then Veron decides to step out right before a masked figure fills the room full of knockout gas and proceeds to steal their bracelets. I do like the fact that later Blake identifies it as Solo Vapor, a cute callback to Voyage to Destiny. But soon they realize that they are without their bracelets. Things just got a lot harder. And once again, we see the lengths that the writers are willing to go to deprive them of the teleport system in the moments of need. And what would you know, it was Kasabe's daughter who betrayed them after all. However, the only reason she betrayed them was because Travis had promised the return of her mother, which leads to an interesting insight to his character.
You did seal the entrance?
Yes, just as you told me.
Good. You did well. You can be proud of yourself.
I'm disgusted with myself.
That will pass. There is a reward for Blake. You were sensible. You did what was expedient.
I'm gonna hold off on talking about this until our next episode, but I really feel like this may be Travis's inner character showing through. But nevertheless, Travis is sent to go retrieve Blake and the rest of them who are now trapped in the church. Fortunately, Avon and the rest of them manage to escape thanks to Gan's Herculean effort to break down the door. Realizing they really don't have anywhere else to go, they decide to try and break into control anyway without the teleporters. A plan which basically involves vaporizing the radiation tape before it manages to blow them up so they can cross the field safely, before it finishes its repairs. One highlight from this scene is the fact that Gan decides to go with Villa in hopes of saving them an extra trip, even though it's intrinsically a very risky move. But despite some close calls, they are able to get across the field. Back over with Servalan and Kasabe's daughter, Travis informs them that he's found the empty church, and realizes where Blake has gone. However, the only way he'll be able to get in is if they deactivate the field surrounding control. Something which she claims even she doesn't have the authority to do, but she'll make some calls nevertheless. Back over with Blake, they descend into the bowels of control, and may I just say, it is good to see that Terry Nation is still reusing the blank white hallways whenever possible. Before using the same set except with a red gel filter, and now it's a red hallway with nothing in it. Magical! Except it turns out a little further down is a booby trap setup from a D&D game. Thankfully, they're able to use the conveniently placed monkey bars to cross the room. Can I just say this is so dumb? On the one hand, I understand not wanting to make it too easy to get in here, but also, how do you get in here at this rate? Back over with Servalon, she's gotten the approval to let Travis into control by deactivating the minefield, just as someone comes to pay her a visit. Dun dun dun! And apparently now we're just not using a filter. But finally they reach the door that seems to lead to control. Villa picks the lock, and it's Terry Nation's greatest practical joke. The room containing control is completely empty and white. And of course, that's when Travis shows up and reveals the secret. There is no control in the control building. I mean, really, the plan's quite brilliant. They never made a secret of where to find control, and it was originally located there. But eventually the Federation realized it would be safer to relocate it somewhere completely innocuous, leaving the rebellion against the Federation to vent their frustration at an empty building, while the real control was safe and sound. And hey, he's managed to capture Blake and several of his crew, and they'll soon have the Liberator. It's a win-win all around! Until Servalon shows up and orders Travis to let them go, revealing that they've been taken prisoner by Jenna and Callie, who are both smart enough to realize that something was amiss. The moment you pull that trigger, you'll both be dead!
That's right, but so would your Supreme Commander.
And so would you.
Oh, please, shoot me, I beg you. I've asked Servala to do it so many times, but she never does. She says it's funnier to watch me beg.
Release them.
Don't do it, Travis. Let us all die together, gloriously, and finally we will all be free.
Do it! Your move, I think, Travis.
Travis, I have fought in the Time War. I have seen the most horrible and disappointing things the universe could ever imagine, and they all pale in comparison to you.
You hesitated. My life was at risk and you hesitated! But as Blake and his crew attempt to escape, Travis is not taking it with good grace. In a last attempt to save his career, he throws an incredibly powerful explosive in an attempt to collapse the hallway that Blake and his crew have run down, which mostly seems to succeed, except it only ends up killing Gan in probably the character's finest moment of the series.
No! I know what I'm dying for!
And yeah, this is not some Doctor Who thing. Gan is dead. Dead and gone.
I will remember you.
And I'm sad now. Let's handle the wrap-up quickly. Servalon and Travis are buried in there until they can get dug out, and she's fuming, planning to put him on trial. Kasabi's daughter's going to remain on Earth and try and pick up with the rest of the Resistance in hopes to take down the Federation like her mother would have wanted her to. And with Gan's empty chair sitting on board the bridge of the Liberator, they fly away from Earth, ending the episode. So yeah, not much of a wrap-up. This episode is really good, and I think it's essential watching for any Blake 7 fan. Most of the stuff I want to talk about, I'm either going to handle separately for Gan, or I'm saving for the next episode where we'll be addressing Travis's character development more. But until then, that's where we're going to leave it. So, what can you expect from our next episode? Well, Blake meets the universe's largest flea. We truly get to see the last moments of Travis. And you know how the teleporter has a white outline? Yeah, that's a plot point. Anyway, I hope to see you all for our next episode, episode 19, Trial. Sign-offs are hard. Hello, friends. I hope you're all enjoying Blake 7 as much as I am making the reviews of it. If you want to show your support for the series, check out their YouTube page, link in the description. And if you want to show support for this series, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I'm also doing other reviews all the time, and new series are always coming. And if you enjoy those, I have some original content that I'm creating, as well as a bunch of stuff over on my Patreon. Links for that and my Facebook page can be found in the description below. And now some special thanks for my patrons on Patreon. Drawn by Kenna, Jen Goodnight, Lucy Westera, Norm DePlume. Thank you all so much for your contributions and for making all of this possible.